A very beautiful day to you. Welcome to another segment of newspaper review on First Next News. I am Cassie Tony, and with me is Kings Ojalo. Hello, Kings.
Hello, Cassie.
How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
All right, so moving ahead to the Punch newspaper, boldly written, DHQ moves to array alleged Coup porters. You find that on page 2. On top of the newspaper, presidential panel recommend freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. You find that on page 21. Still on the same newspaper, over 400,000 jottle for 50,000 police jobs. You find it on page 7. Still on the same newspaper, page 7, strike. Court decide today as FCT workers demands Wike's removal. Wow. So, King Sojalo, what do you have to say about this?
I think the FCT minister has indeed come to a junction whereby
he has done a whole lot.
Yes, he has to face reality. You understand? Now, looking at the previous time, this outbreak rules that was early this year,
Yes.
talking about January 12 and so thereabout. You understand? Workers and residents of the FCT have been given an alarm concerning his absence from duty and thereabout.
Exactly.
Now, if you look at it, so many of these things their demands we're talking about are standing payment of salary, unapproved minimum wage and thereabout. You understand? I don't think when you are assigned to a primary assignment, you deviate from your primary assignment and start doing other things that, let me not use the word, not really relevant as at that time. You understand? We should think about the well-being of the people. You understand? Rather than going on should I use the word unusual mission. You understand? We all know that he has been running around River State for some time being and thereabout. And I think he ought to have faced the consequential things that really concerns him in the FCC, rather than trying to go for a rally that someone else can take over on a leisure time. You understand?
Right.
So our ministers and our governors should do what they are primarily assigned to, rather than doing
thank you so much. He initially said no one can fire him except President Bola Tinubu. I hope this time around Bola Tinubu comes to his aid. Okay, moving to the next newspaper, the Daily Monitor, boldly written, military to commence court-martial of 16 officers. That's coming from DHQ. On top of the newspaper, Soludo shuts down Onitsha main market for a week over sit at home. You find that on page 5. Still in the same newspaper, military neutralizes dozens of terrorists, naps 100 suspects in 1 week. That's coming from DHQ still. You find that on page 2. Moving to the next newspaper, the Guardian newspaper. Boldly written, residents on the brink as rent spy above yearly income in major cities. Still on the newspaper, on top of the newspaper, DHQ to court-martial indicted officers in coup plot. You find that on page 3. Don't let 2027 politics undermine governance. CISLAC wants National Assembly. You find that on page 3. Tax laws. NEFGAD demands probe. Sanction over alleged altercations. You find that on page 3. So I saw a very striking story here that residents on the brink as rent spike above yearly income in major cities. There's really this rumor. It's not even a rumor. Here in River State and other cities, rents are really high.
Thank you for even making that correction. It's not even a rumor. At least we witness everything. You see, I think our federal government and governors, particularly our governors, really need to really sanction most of these, these agents, so-called agents, illegal agents, parabolating, house. I think they are the major cause of this problem.
You think it's really the agent? What about the landlords? Some landlords are really greedy.
Yes, we might not really blame the landlord, Cassie, because if you look at the high cost of materials and thereabout, they will fix their complaints. They will attach their complaints to the materials cost of. Yes, so we might not really blame the landlord. I think agents, are one of the prominent major cause of this house ache.
Okay, so
now looking at Lagos. Here in Port Harcourt, just as you mentioned, we also talk about Abuja, even some other civil servant states as low as Benin, probably even as
Cross River State.
No, Cross River State, I think they are handling their own. And if you look at Cross River State, the state governor, we're talking about Preso 2.
Yeah, he's working.
He's banned. So I think that move made by Preso 2 should be implemented in all states, because it's really getting out of hand. You understand? People can't afford a living in commercial cities anymore, or because these agents are really brainwashing landlords. I will be very honest with you. And if you look at most of these people, in terms of salary pay, but it's not even much to be able to sustain their yearly rent. So I think government will have to interrogate these so-called agents, and also landlord have to be considerable, because they are also one of the biggest contribution to this house rent hike in the country, because it's getting, at least the welfare of the life of the citizens it should be more important than any other thing. We can't start going on the street to sleep up because we can't afford that rent. So I think our federal government really need to sit up, because if you look at before now, we are talking about 5 years ago, or let me say 7 years ago, most especially, let me start with Lagos. At least you'll be able to afford a self-con, probably, I think 100,000, 70,000, we're talking about 90,000. Now you can't even get a self-con of 500,000 anymore. We're talking about 800,000 above. You understand? Okay, let's drive down back to Port Harcourt. You understand? That is not even as commercial as that of Lagos. You can see the house rent hike. You understand? Just a self-con, you see the amount. We were talking about 500,000. We're talking about 800,000 and thereabout. Then what about flats? You are seeing 1.8, 2 million thereabout. Come on. You understand? Not everybody can afford that. That is what our landlords and agents should consider. You understand? That is why government really have to come.
This prices of this house prices, I think it really depends on the quality of the house.
It should.
They have what they say standard standard flats.
You
have wall-to-wall house.
If you are talking about real estate and thereabout, yes, those are private establishment, and definitely, but we are talking about just major houses that are not under the platform of real housing estates. Come on, those should be considerable. At least we should consider, this goes to the landlord. They should consider, you understand, the welfare of citizens. You understand, because they have what it takes to have a roof over their head. They were the one who built these houses at there. But let them also consider, you understand, the welfare of the people and how people can be able to accommodate themselves and family. Because without these people, tell me how would they be able to make income? So that is why consideration should be put into place in the case of our landlords. Then again, our governments, our governors and thereabout, they need to really go thorough on these house issues, or else they will lose citizens. That is just the truth.
Okay, thank you so much. So at this juncture, I'm going to be handing over to you to take over.
Okay. So we'll be going straight to the Matrix newspaper. On the Matrix newspaper, we have, after several denials, military confirms coup plot in Nigeria to try 16 officers over alleged plot to overthrow Tinubu's government. We also have veterans, armed force loyalty, respect for constitutional authority. That is in page 2. Now, moving ahead, on the top, we have 2027. Yusuf, APC defection reshapes Kanu's power dynamic, alters political calculations. Now, we also have on that 2027, why my father Obi can't defeat Tinubu, that is coming from the son of the former vice president of Nigeria. I'm talking about the life of Atiku's son. Now, we're looking at NNPCL, Chevron strike oil at Awudi, 7 wells set to boost Nigeria reserve. Still on that, we have Shetima, Akpabio, Abbas to receive Matfuag into APC in Jos on Tuesday. Now, moving to the next newspaper platform, which is the Nigeria Tribune. On the Nigeria Tribune, alleged coup, military to court, martial 16 officers. Now, moving to page 5, Solodu shuts down Onitsha main market for a week over sit at home. Now, that is coming from Anambra State, where the governor recently shut down one of the major markets in the state due to their failure to comply to the resumption of Monday duties in that state. Now, looking at page 2, alleged fraud, AGF takes over Ozekome's persecution from ICPC. You find that in page 2. Now, looking at page 26, government adopts school proprietress in Ondo, 3 daughters of Plateau Water Board MD. Now, we'll be going to the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun newspaper, Military opens up on coup plot against Tinubu. You find that in page 6. Now, on the top, we have Osun LG's tenure allegation illegal in democracy. That is coming from Governor Adeleke tells APC. Now, we also have in page 26, strike. FCTA workers urged to sustain solidarity as union hails massive turnout in court. We also have in page 2, Customs surpasses 2025 revenue target by 697 billion naira, hit 7.28 trillion naira. Still on that, in page 4, hearing in final for future suit of UK property linked to Osini Ozekome stalled. LGA takes over Ozekome trial. You find that in page 4.
All right, thank you so much, King. So we've come to the end of this particular segment. A very warm thank you to you, and I remain your amazing host, Cassie Tony.
And I am Kings Ojalo.
Do have a blessed day.